And then, that was the view really for decades, that civilization began about 6,000 years ago. And before that, there was no such thing as civilization. And they say that the first big megalithic structures.
Atlantis, a legendary continent, has fascinated people for centuries due to its advanced society and the mysterious disappearance of its civilization. Was the fall of this advanced culture caused by an accidental natural disaster, or did they bring about their own downfall? Well, Graham Hancock has recently shed light on this, and what he revealed has sent shockwaves. Many believe that the Atlanteans tried to create a powerful interdimensional portal in the Bermuda Triangle area to make it easier to access other dimensions. This theory offers an explanation for the strange disappearances and communication issues associated with the area. As we know, portals are gateways to different dimensions, allowing passage through time and space. It's possible that the Atlanteans' misunderstanding of the forces involved in this endeavor led to their collapse, much like how the Montauk Project was abandoned after scientists failed to control their experiments. The Atlanteans adhered to sacred geometry principles, which were evident in their architecture. They preferred constructing homes in round or octagonal shapes, believing that these designs were more spiritually harmonious and would help channel the universe's energy more effectively. Theosophist Scott Elliott describes the temples of Atlantis as immense structures, similar to the grand temples of Egypt, but on a much larger scale. These temples were built in pyramid shapes to allow better energy flow from the universe, and powerful quartz crystals were placed near or atop these structures for additional power. These temples served as places for meditation, where the energy from the pyramid could help restore a person's vitality. The Atlanteans used a key, known as the Ankh, to operate these energy portals. When an initiate held the Ankh and chanted, it resonated with both positive and negative energy, creating a neutral point that expanded and moved in an elliptical pattern, similar to how energy flows through the chakras. According to Edgar Cayce, the Atlanteans wore pale green robes at the beginning of their spiritual journeys. As they advanced, they wore light blue robes, with the highest-ranking individuals wearing white robes on special occasions. Dark blue robes were passed down through generations of sages. Healers wore special headbands. A silver-lined headband indicated mental healing, while a headband made of orichalcum signified expertise in physical medicine. Orichalcum, a legendary metal of Atlantis, remains a mystery. Plato described it as a precious metal that glowed like fire, and it may have been an alloy of gold and copper or meteoric iron. The Greek poet Homer also mentioned orichalcum centuries before Plato's time. Now, the question arises, what led to the downfall of Atlantis, and did they cause their own extinction? Civilizations, like everything in nature, experience cycles of rise and fall. There are reports that Atlantis faced destruction 3 times, with the final event occurring about 12,000 years ago, leading to the continent's ultimate end. So, what triggered this? It's difficult to pinpoint a single cause, but by examining various sources, we can begin to piece together how these events are connected and contributed to Atlantis's demise. First, are there any scientific explanations for the catastrophic event around 10,000 BC? Scientists have several theories, with one suggesting a massive shock that shifted the planet's axis. This disturbance would have upset the stability of the Earth's molten core, causing the fragile crust to crack in vulnerable areas. Magma from the planet's interior could have rapidly shot through these cracks, melting the Earth's surface. What could have wiped out so many species and entire genera during this period? The initial reaction might lead one to believe it was some great global catastrophe, one that affected regions like South Patagonia, Brazil, the Cordillera of Peru, and North America. It would have required shaking the entire framework of the Earth. The axis shift, combined with earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and floods, provides a physical explanation for Atlantis's sinking. However, another cause of this devastation might lie in the attitudes and actions of mankind. Could it be that humanity's disregard for the natural world, their selfish ambitions, and their pursuit of immortality played a role in this tragic downfall? Bashar, a multidimensional being from another realm, discusses the fall of Atlantis in one of his channelings. He explains that the ultimate destruction was triggered by a comet that entered the solar system. For about 20 years, its orbit intersected Earth's twice a year. During its passage, pieces of the comet fell to Earth, causing widespread devastation, particularly in North America and the Atlantic region. Eventually, a larger fragment passed through the atmosphere and struck the planet, creating massive tsunamis that completely destroyed Atlantis and the coastal civilizations. However, according to Bashar, the comet was not a random event. It was the result of humanity's decline in consciousness, corruption, and division. Those who embraced fear were influenced by a corrupted sense of power and control. Your psychic, Edgar Cayce, referred to them as the children of light and the children of darkness, and gave a detailed account of what happened. He believes that the division within Atlantis led to the corruption of some of its people. How did this split happen? If we were to summarize the timeline, it would likely go something like this. Around the time of the fourth Atlantean subrace, the people began to focus heavily on technology. They sought to control Earth and time itself using portals. This pursuit made them vulnerable to dark alien influences. The draconian Martians seized this opportunity and began to manipulate the Atlanteans. The divide occurred: light versus dark. The Dark Ones, led by Belial, waged wars against other civilizations. The Light Ones, realizing Atlantis's end was near, began to relocate to colonies and prepare new settlements. A cataclysm struck, Atlantis sank, and higher beings carried the Atlantean culture to other regions of the Earth. Atlantis, in its earliest days, was meant to unite all people as one. It began as a spiritually centered society, but shifted over time into a scientific and technological empire between 15,000 and 12,000 BC. By the final subrace, the Atlanteans had dominion over the Earth and the portals connected to it. It is believed that most of the pyramids around the world were built during this period, serving as portals for the Atlanteans to receive information from higher realms and communicate with extraterrestrial civilizations. What role did alien races play in the development of the Atlanteans? One of the greatest threats to Atlantis came from beyond Earth. The alien races of the Galactic Council saw humanity in different lights. Some believed that humans would serve as a unifying force for other civilizations, while others saw them as mere subjects for experimentation. Over time, more beings from different star systems explored Earth, with some seeking to harness the technology for controlling the portals. In the end, technological advancement took precedence, and the pursuit of scientific progress overshadowed the values of compassion, resource sharing, and harmony with nature that had defined life in Lemuria and Atlantis for millennia. Slowly, a class system developed, where those with knowledge became extremely powerful, often at the expense of humanity's well-being. According to Cayce's readings, for most of their history, the Atlanteans adhered to the law of oneness. They were kind and caring toward others and treated the Earth with respect. But as their focus shifted toward technological progress, they lost their reverence for nature and began to dominate it instead. Natural resources have become tools for personal gain. In the Emerald Tablets, thought explains that in ancient Atlantis, there was both light and darkness. The darkness was hidden in everything. Some individuals who had risen to great heights among humanity eventually fell from the light into the shadows. They became prideful of their knowledge and their status among others. They ventured deep into the forbidden, opening the door to darkness. They sought to acquire more knowledge, but they attempted to bring it up from below. To descend into the depths requires balance, or else one becomes trapped by the absence of light. Through their knowledge, they opened pathways that were never meant to be explored. Although Atlantis was originally intended to be a balance between spirit and matter, things didn't unfold as planned, and dark forces gradually crept into the Atlantean society. According to our cosmic origins and the Terror Papers, the story is as follows. An alien race on the planet split into two factions, particularly among the Anunnaki. Marduk, the son of Enki, sought to take control of the planet and orchestrate a coup. He allied with the Draconians, a malevolent alien group from the Orion Empire that had once lived on Mars. After misusing advanced technology, the Draconians had destroyed their home and were now intent on conquering a new planet. The Atlanteans, being the most advanced human civilization with technologies for interdimensional travel and energy portal control, seemed like the ideal place for the Draconians to embed themselves. Under their influence, the leadership of Atlantis eventually split into two factions, the Children of the Law of One and the Sons of Belial, also known as the Sons of Darkness. Technology began to dominate their lives and had a dehumanizing effect. People became fixated on accumulating material possessions and moved to cities where these goods were more easily accessible. They replaced mental tools with machines, similar to our reliance on phones and computers, further distancing their consciousness from the spiritual realm and focusing entirely on the physical world. The importance of the intangible, of things beyond the five senses, and the three-dimensional environment became irrelevant to them. Their spiritual lives withered. As they separated from their Creator, moral standards collapsed. Anger, greed, hatred, and envy flourished. Criminal acts such as sexual orgies, theft, and murder became common. The Sons of Belial dominated society. Edgar Cayce describes them as deeply corrupt and vile. Plato writes that the divine spark in them weakened. Eventually, a catastrophic natural disaster wiped out their civilization. In the ancient secret of the flower of life, Drunvalo Melchizedek, who is older and more experienced, claims that his knowledge comes directly from thought itself. He shares that around 13,000 to 16,000 years ago, a comet appeared out of nowhere and approached Earth. At the time, a major conflict was escalating in Atlantis. The Sons of Belial, who were the minority but held the power, wanted to destroy the comet using their advanced laser technology, while the Children of Light opposed this idea, believing the comet was part of a divine plan. They understood that the end of their civilization was near and had already started making plans to preserve their knowledge after Atlantis was destroyed. According to Melchizedek, when the comet struck, it caused significant damage to Atlantis, but more importantly, it marked the final split between the Atlanteans. This event gave the Sons of Belial the opportunity to take control of Earth. They began constructing a system of facilities designed to create an artificial Merkaba, much like the one used on Mars, which had led to that planet's downfall. If the Martians had been successful in creating a balanced artificial Merkaba, they would have gained complete control of their planet. The Martians had begun their constructions on Atlantis, but without fully understanding how to properly activate their Merkaba or manage the technology, they lost control. The results were disastrous, as Earth's lower dimensions were severely disrupted. Drunvalo further explains that the Martians' attempt to dominate the planet happened near one of the islands in the Atlantic, in what we now call the Bermuda Triangle. He suggests that the strange phenomena in this area are due to a device left behind by the Martians, which remains active to this day. The question remains, did the comet's impact cause the destruction of Atlantis? Or was it the failed attempts to control energy portals and the Merkaba, or perhaps a combination of both? There is also a theory that suggests a shift in Earth's magnetic pulse occurred about 12,000 years ago, possibly due to the comet's impact. Could this have triggered the global disaster, the rising sea levels, and the fall of this great civilization? After Atlantis fell, some of the more advanced spiritual beings managed to survive. In some texts, they are referred to as the Osirian group. The ancestors of this group were part of the resistance, also known as the Sisterhood of the White Brotherhood. These were kind-hearted beings who stood against Marduk's agenda. They retained all 12 strands of their DNA, and, because of this, they avoided the destruction of Atlantis. Their leader was Osiris, who some believe later became known as the Egyptian deity. Another prominent figure was Thoth. In the Emerald Tablets, Thoth shares that the all-seeing ruler, called Me, came to him and gave him instructions. Take all knowledge, all your wisdom, gather all the manuscripts and your magic, and protect the texts until a time when the light returns to mankind. You must be a guiding light through the ages, hidden but discoverable by those who are enlightened. The earth will grant you power, but we hold the right to give or remove it. Bring together the sons of Atlantean. Take them, and flee to the people living in the stone caves. Go to the land of the children of Chem. So I gathered the sons of Atlantean, loaded all the documents from Atlantis onto a spacecraft, brought with me all of my strength and magical tools. We rose into the sky with the morning light, flying high above the temple. 3 of us stayed behind, along with the dweller, deep within the temple halls. The great temple sank beneath the sea, sealing off the lords of the cycles. But for anyone with true knowledge, the path to Amenti remains open. We escaped quickly through the morning light and reached the land of the children of Chem. Using my abilities, I overcame them and took control. I led the children of Chem into the light after the flood had wiped out everything. The chosen took shelter in a place called Surmeadow, meaning magical place. Eventually, this site became a temple. Today, it is known as the Sphinx, or the Guardian. Thoth said, "There are civilizations that exist in time and others that exist beyond it. I buried my spacecraft beneath the rocks here to wait for a time when humans are free to use it. I placed a marker shaped like a lion, but with human features. Beneath this image, my ship still rests, waiting to be recovered if ever needed. Far in the future, invaders will come from deep space. Then rise, those of you who hold wisdom. Retrieve my ship and win easily. My secret is hidden beneath the statue. Look inside the pyramid I constructed. Each chamber connects to another. Each doorway leads to life. Use the key I left for you, and the door will open. Search for me in my pyramid, deep in the passage that ends at the wall. Use the key of the weak, and the path below will reveal itself. I passed on my knowledge and my path. Follow it and uncover my secrets. Is it possible to compare the fall of Atlantis to our present-day civilization? The patterns between Atlantis's final days and today's society are clear and unsettling. Alongside the disrespect for nature's gifts, the corruption and lack of moral values seen in Atlantis still persist now. In most developed nations, people prioritize wealth and power above all else. Scientific materialism dominates again, causing many to think they can live without any connection to a creator or moral boundaries. Will we be able to keep artificial intelligence under control as scientists continue to advance it every day? And will we avoid destroying ourselves through powerful weapons? The future isn't set in stone, and our decisions are still in our hands. It's up to us to steer away from repeating the fate of Atlantis. While things won't shift overnight, we can learn from the past and aim to build a world without greed, oppression, hatred, or violence. A world where knowledge and technology are used wisely and with balance. In addition, the increasing reliance on technology, the neglect of spiritual values, and the obsession with material wealth all mirror the warnings told in the stories of Atlantis. Just like the Atlanteans, we too have replaced many of our natural capabilities with machines. Our connection with nature has weakened. We measure success through possessions and status rather than wisdom or inner growth. The division seen in ancient Atlantis between the children of the Law of One and the sons of Belial can also be seen in today's world. One group seeks harmony, truth, and balance. The other pursues control, power, and wealth at any cost. As the Atlanteans once lost their balance and invited destruction, many wonder if our modern path might lead to a similar end. Advanced science, without moral responsibility, carries the same dangers now as it did then. As artificial intelligence, genetic manipulation, and other powerful tools become part of our daily life, we face the same questions. Are we using this knowledge for good, or are we repeating past mistakes? Some believe that just as thought preserved wisdom for the future, there may be ancient knowledge waiting to be rediscovered, not only in physical ruins, but also within us. The story of Atlantis is more than just a tale of a lost city. It is a warning and perhaps a guide. If the accounts are true, and if such a fall did happen, then the message is simple. Civilizations that ignore balance and become consumed by pride and power eventually collapse. Graham Hancock believes that there was an advanced civilization that existed more than 10,000 years ago, which he connects to the story of Atlantis. He says this civilization was destroyed by a massive disaster, possibly a comet hitting Earth, around 11,600 years ago. He also believes that the survivors of this disaster helped build ancient cultures in places like Egypt and South America. Hancock often talks about places like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey and the Yonaguni structure underwater near Japan. He thinks these sites prove that humans were more advanced a long time ago than most experts believe. He also thinks that history has been forgotten or ignored by mainstream archaeology. Most scientists disagree with Hancock. They believe the things he points to can be explained by nature or by regular ancient societies. For example, many believe the Yonaguni structure is a natural rock formation shaped by water and earthquakes, not made by people. Thanks for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one.